Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Cycle 5858. I am Amish Cycle. Following news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please, let's go to the headlines.
Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air. Sean Diddy Combs sentenced to more than 4 years in prison. The high drama in the courtroom as the judge sealed the embattled rap mogul's fate. That judge sentencing Combs to 50 months behind bars and a $500,000 fine for charges related to prostitution, saying it was necessary to hold Combs accountable. Combs tearfully apologizing prior to his sentencing, saying to his mother in the gallery, "You taught me better." The conviction and sentencing marking a stunning fall from grace for one of the heavyweights in the entertainment world. Aaron Katursky is standing by. Also breaking, Hamas agreeing in principle to release the remaining hostages under President Trump's peace plan with conditions. Trump responding tonight by calling on Israel to stop the bombing of Gaza. Ian Panel from Israel with details just coming in. Dramatic new video tonight from the U.S. military. They say it shows forces carrying out a strike on an alleged cartel drug boat near Venezuela. That boat up in flames. 4 men killed. Secretary Pete Hegseth calling them narcos. Martha Raddatz with new reporting. Enormous flames erupting at the largest oil refinery on the West Coast. A powerful explosion of a massive inferno. A potential break in a series of heists targeting armored trucks. A police chase in Philadelphia leading to the arrest of 3 suspects. Shutdown now spilling into next week. Senate Democrats and Republicans failing to advance a spending bill. The White House now saying President soon thousands of star Reese Gibson out on bond tonight, charged with cruelty to animals after his dog's allegedly neighbor's pet. A content creator takes a tragic fall. The famous young climber plummeting to his death from Yosemite's El Capitan while live streaming on social media. And Prince William giving a rare glimpse into his life as a royal, speaking candidly about his parents, father, and his name.
Turned in early hours, drawing fuel from Republicans.
Halloween, and while we are swallowing these bitter pills, Jill was kind enough to here.
And Armani Garcia U.S. Democrat live stream at WNBA. They're on right now. Trying to sort
Greater Manchester Police have also confirmed that the Terry handle
conference. Name is Bouquet. B-U-C-K-E-T. No, it's not bucket, it's bouquet.
Tribute in for the British band in a sitcom Keeping Up Appearances. She died at the age of 96. Compare older generations, does it matter?
Archbishop of Canterbury was made the first woman to be appointed that role during.
He's had two managers with Manchester United now. To make still of damages to win through the day today. The winds will ease a little for night, and tomorrow will be a breezy day, but overall things calming down for Sunday. Joy relay.
This Friday night, Hamas responds to the U.S. president's peace proposal, what the group has agreed to and what it still wants to negotiate. Anger over the deadly rampage at a Manchester synagogue. How one victim did not die at the hands of the attacker. New parents anxious over deadly measles cases in Canada.
It really seems like that should have been a thing of the past.
The encouraging news from doctors. Plus, mounting fears about North Korea's blossoming relationship with Russia and what's on this phone that was smuggled out of the north.
Global National reporting tonight and Gaviola.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin with breaking news. Hamas says it will release all Israeli hostages held in Gaza, along with the bodies of those killed, in response to U.S. President Donald Trump's peace plan. The announcement from Hamas comes 4 days after Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu unveiled the proposed agreement in Washington. Candace Cole is tracking the developments. Candace, what else did Hamas say in its response?
Good evening, Ann. Well, what we know right now is that Hamas has accepted some elements of Trump's proposal to end the war in Gaza, but not all of them. As you said, they're agreeing to free the rest of the hostages, both living and deceased. They're also open to relinquishing power over to a politically independent Palestinian body, but they want to negotiate on some of the other aspects regarding the future of the Gaza Strip and the rights of Palestinians. They say those things should be decided on a, quote, unanimous Palestinian stance and in accordance with international law. But they have not indicated whether or not they'll agree to Israel's demand of Hamas disarming themselves. Now, this all comes on the heels of President Trump's ultimatum issued earlier today, where he gave them until 6 p.m. this coming Sunday to reach a deal, or else, quote, all hell like no one has ever seen will break out against Hamas. In response, Trump says he believes Hamas is ready for peace and released this video calling it a moment that is unprecedented. Take a look.
I want to thank the countries that helped me put this together. Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, and so many others. So many people fought so hard. This is a big day. We'll see how it all turns out. We have to get the final word down and concrete. Very importantly, I look forward to having the hostages come home to their parents.
A chopper.
This is DW News, and these are our top stories. Hamas says it has accepted some elements of US President Donald Trump's peace plan for Gaza, including releasing all remaining Israeli hostages, whether dead or alive. The group says some elements of Trump's plan still require further negotiation. President Trump has demanded Israel stop bombing Gaza, quote, immediately, and says he believes Hamas is ready for peace. American hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs has been sentenced to more than 4 years in prison on prostitution-related charges. The 55-year-old was also fined $500,000 after being found guilty of transporting people across state lines for sexual encounters. He was acquitted of sex trafficking and racketeering. Chancellor Friedrich Merz says liberal democracies like Germany are under attack at home and from abroad. Merz was speaking as Germany marks 35 years since reunification of the previously separated East and West. The Chancellor urged Germans to unite to tackle new challenges, including growing threats to their way of life. This is DW News from Berlin. You'll find more news on our website at dw.com.
Maurice, one of the 200 France 24 correspondents around the world.
Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you're just joining us. You're watching Daybreak on France 24, our headlines this hour. Donald Trump calls on Israel to stop bombing Gaza after Hamas says it's ready to return the remaining hostages. The group has accepted some terms of a U.S.-led peace deal already approved by Israel, but details are still being negotiated. The Czech Republic votes in the second and final day of an election that could see the return of former Prime Minister Andrej Babiš, a self-described Trumpist. The vote is being closely watched in Europe, with Babiš vowing to reduce aid for Ukraine. Our correspondent Ian Willoughby will have more on what's at stake. And the U.S. government shutdown drags into the weekend after another bid to pass a funding bill failed in the Senate. As Republicans and Democrats remain deadlocked, President Trump is threatening permanent layoffs and cuts across the federal government.
Present for you this final season on the ABC Listener.
Hamas agrees to release all Israeli hostages, but wants further negotiations about Donald Trump's peace plan.
Everybody was unified in wanting this war to end and seeing peace in the Middle East, and we're very close to achieving that.
Andrew Hastie says he's not seeking Liberal Party leadership after resigning as Shadow Home Affairs Minister. US rapper Sean Diddy Combs to appeal his conviction after being sentenced to more than 4 years in prison. And Sydney's Luna Park marks its 90th birthday, inviting 90-year-olds along to celebrate. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Melissa McKay. A peace deal between Hamas and Israel appears to be inching closer after the militant group agreed to parts of Donald Trump's Gaza peace plan. US President Donald Trump told Israel to stop bombing the Gaza Strip immediately after Hamas agreed to release all the remaining Israeli hostages. The militant group says other parts of the peace plan will require further consultation and negotiation. Qatar and Egypt, which have been the main mediators between Hamas and Israel, have welcomed the news, while Mr. Trump says it's an historic moment.
Together, Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, and so many others, so many people fought so hard. This is a big day. We'll see how it all turns out. We have to get the final word down in concrete. Thank you all to those great countries that helped. We're given a tremendous amount of help. Everybody was unified in wanting this war to end and seeing peace in the Middle East, and we're very close to achieving that.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has welcomed progress on President Trump's peace proposal. In a statement, he called on Hamas to agree to the deal, lay down its arms and release all remaining hostages without delay. Meanwhile, the Israeli Prime Minister's office says it's preparing for the immediate implementation of the first stage of the plan, the release of all the hostages. Here's Middle Eastern correspondent Matthew Doran from Jerusalem.
Hamas's statement here is significant, but it is important to stress.
This
is Asia Now.
It's 12 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 9:30 in New Delhi, and 11 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Grace Shin, and at this hour. Lawmakers from Japan's ruling Liberal Democratic Party set to vote for a new leader who will most likely succeed outgoing Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba. Israel moves to roll out the first phase of U.S. President Donald Trump's peace plan on freeing hostages in Gaza after Hamas agreed to parts of the deal. Mr. Trump adding Israel must immediately stop bombing the enclave.
This is a big day. We'll see how it all turns out. We have to get the final word down in concrete.
China braces for Typhoon Matmo's second landfall as the storm already struck the Philippines and is expected to strengthen into a severe typhoon. That is before hitting southern China.
Africa News. The news.
This music studio has become a rallying point for Madagascar's young protesters. Here they can stock water, masks and saline solution, all essential supplies for protesting and confrontations with police. Part of Generation Z, the artists, students, entrepreneurs and freelancers have found inspiration in recent youth protests against governments seen as corrupt or autocratic and for better living conditions, like the protests in Nepal and Bangladesh. Madagascar is on an island. We don't really know what's going on outside of it, and thankfully with social media we know that in fact we can if we want to. And it's also thanks to Nepal, which influenced us, and in turn Madagascar has inspired others. And we can be proud of this generation. Yes, we are Generation TikTok, and we can also very well be connected and change something across the world. Despite the protest movement's peaceful nature, the violent armed repression from security forces has led to the protesters calling for the president to resign.
Le président malgache
Madagascar's president Andry Rajoelina gave an unexpected speech this Friday.
une vingtaine de minutes.
In a 20-minute video published on his Facebook page, he said that the Gen Z protesters had been manipulated by political opponents, and he claimed that Madagascar had fallen victim to cyber attacks launched by robots that wanted to destroy the country.
Visant à détruire le
The head of state also implied that there was a plot to make power transformers explode,
flot
and accused some employees of Jirama, the national water and electricity supplier, to have been bribed for such an act of sabotage.
employés de la Dzirama, la compagnie nationale d'eau et d'électricité de Paris.
Andry Rajoelina also said that the population trusted him with the power to govern the country for 5 years and called for dialogue.
5 ans et il a appelé au dialogue. Vulana Razafmanansou, Antananarive pour Africa News.
The Moroccan government says it's ready to address grievances fueling the youth-led protests that have engulfed the country for days. The announcement comes a day after 3 people were killed by security forces as rioters tried to storm a police station. Speaking to the Council of Ministers on Thursday, Prime Minister Aziz Akhanouch said he was ready for dialogue and debate within institutions and public spaces. Politicians keep asking people to control themselves, to be patient, to make sacrifices, to act as good citizens and love their country, but they don't do any of this themselves. They see the country boiling, yet they haven't made a single public statement. At least say something, even if it's just a lie. Those taking part in the so-called Gen Z protests accuse the government of widespread corruption. They accuse authorities of prioritizing spending on World Cup preparations over health and education. The recent deaths of 8 women in public hospital have become a rallying cry. Today we're here to say that the authorities and government must address this issue responsibly and with serious.
Live and dead. With just just days before a key deadline. Just breaking tonight, Hamas saying they will release all Israeli hostages in Gaza, alive and dead. With just days before a key deadline, Hamas saying they are open to negotiate on President Trump's Gaza peace plan. Nearly 2 years into this war, the president saying he believes Hamas is ready for peace. Richard Engel, live from Jerusalem. Also breaking tonight, Sean Diddy Combs sentenced to more than 4 years in federal prison. What the judge told the music mogul who sobbed in court. We'll show you the PR video put together by Combs' defense team to paint him as a family man and what he did when he learned he was spending more years behind bars. The new deadly military strike on a boat off the coast of Venezuela, killing 4. The president saying it carried drugs. Inside the U.S.'s growing pressure on that country. The shutdown now extending through the weekend as the Senate fails to find a way out. New details on that deadly terror attack at a British synagogue. Police revealing officers shot 2 worshippers accidentally while aiming for the attacker. And we're learning the suspect, previously under investigation for an alleged rape, was on bail at the time of the attack. The massive explosion at a critical Chevron oil refinery in Los Angeles. Gas prices in that area now expected to spike. This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Young. And good evening. Tonight we are following breaking news as we come on the air. Nearly 2 years ago, Hamas launched that. Good evening. I'm Jeff Bennett. Alan Navaz is on assignment. On the news hour tonight, Hamas agrees to release all Israeli hostages in response to President Trump's proposal, but says more negotiations are needed on the plan to end the war. The federal government shutdown threatens an already strained air traffic control system with employees required to work without pay.
Every single day that this goes, it's more stress on their back. It's an unnecessary distraction that needs to end.
And a public arts project aims to prevent the collapse of one of the nation's natural wonders, the Great Salt Lake.
We start to care about it, start to, demand that our representatives care about it. They start to hold, industry accountable. That's the idea.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Israeli forces continue to encircle Gaza City, issuing final evacuation orders to remaining residents. Across Gaza, Israeli attacks have killed 22 Palestinians, including 16 in Gaza City, since dawn. A newborn baby died in Gaza City's Al-Helo hospital as infants were being evacuated to escape Israel's onslaught. Al Jazeera's report, at least 7 people were killed in southern Gaza's Al-Mawasi area that Israel designated as a safe zone. It comes as Médecins Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders, denounced the killing of its 14th staff member in Gaza, occupational therapist Omar Hayat. Meanwhile, UNICEF spokesperson James Elder recounted harrowing conditions at Al-Aqsa Hospital.
This is absolutely out of control.
The rap mogul faces the music. Sean Diddy Combs gets more than 4 years in prison for his conviction on prostitute-related charges.
Also tonight, could the end of the war in Gaza be near? Hamas accepts key parts of the Trump peace plan, including the release of hostages just days before the president's deadline. Drop the gun now!
The police released body cam video showing the deadly shooting attack at a Michigan church and how heroic officers stopped the gunman. And Steve Hartman, with a field full of Falcons, a feline stole the show.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News.
Good evening, I'm John Dickerson.
I'm Maurice Dubois.
He had it all: fame, fortune, family. Today, Sean Diddy Combs stood before a federal judge here in New York, humbled. I beg your honor for mercy, he said as he was about to be sentenced.
Thank you for watching Amish Shakil 5858. I am Amish Shakil. I hope you will visit again. Have a good life. Bye-bye.